Hey, welcome to Saturday Night Microphones of Madness. We have a very special guest straight from Queens, the owner-operator of Golden Goblin Press is here to run some Cthulhu Invictus for us. So without any further ado, I'm just going to turn it over to Oscar.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Happy to be here. We are playing the Clockwork Oracle, which is set in a lovely city called Colonia, Laus Iulius Corinthianus. Let's try and say that 3 times fast. Also known as Corinth. It is the capital of the province of Greece. Just to cut through the nonsense, all of your characters know each other, all of your characters have worked with each other, and all of your characters are aware of the mythos. In the background for each of your characters, there are specific mythos threats they have encountered. If you think some of this may come into play with what your character knows, let me know, and I may give you a bonus or a bonus dice to your Cthulhu Invictus roll. Like if it's screaming deep ones and your character has some experience with deep ones, let me know. Everybody should have more than 5 points of Cthulhu Mythos, reflecting that they are aware of the mythos threats to the Empire. All investigators most investigators involved in Cthulhu Invictus in this universe, they have kind of an unwritten rule that this battle is called the Shadow War. It's a hidden war. It's kind of like the Cold War. You fight it and you don't talk about it. You don't let people who aren't fighting it know about it, because once they know about it, they're fighting it. So you're both protecting mankind from mythos threats and from the knowledge of the mythos. It's kind of like, it's bad enough that we know it's out there and we have to fight it. So let's try and keep this from people. Okay.
Delta Verde.
Right. So let's go around and introduce yourselves and your characters.
We'll just start out. Rodney, do it in order on my screen. Rodney.
All right. I'm Rodney. I am Malachi ben Zakai. I am a bodyguard from Jerusalem.
Lily.
I am Dorina Hermula. God, I'm gonna butcher her name. And she is a hunter that hunts some oddities.
Nick.
I am playing Menad the Mighty, a Rediarius gladiator who has found some success in the arena. And he's from Africa.
And Wes.
Yes, tonight I'll be playing Aquilia Nazarella. I am a patrician of equestrian rank. And, after my husband was tragically killed by a horrific cult, who must be killed, of course, because they are clearly trying to destroy the natural order of things, I busy myself with doing that, and also, of course, make sure to enjoy the fineries of life, because they must be enjoyed, always.
And I'm Steve. I'm playing Thaddeus Lepidus. I think that's how you pronounce it. I am a courier from Ratia, which is Switzerland. So, yodel. And
Ricola.
Oscar. All right, that's all of us.
All right, I think it's great that you guys pick people that are so far afield. We've got Switzerland, Africa, Britain, and all right. So Jerusalem. So yeah, you guys are from all the corners of the empire. We are going to say that you are all members of a investigator society. We don't need to say which, but you have been sent here because you are the closest agents to a case they need looked into. And all you've been told is that a trio of siblings, 2 brothers and a sister from the Dexius family, are in need of immediate assistance concerning their father. And you were told that there was a possible mythos artifact involved. You have been given the name of these 3 siblings and a address where they can be found in the city of Corinth. They are, just 1 second, Dexius Telinius. He is the eldest son. There is Dexius Commius. He is the youngest son. And there is Latina Dexilia, who is the middle daughter.
Could you say her name again? I'm sorry.
Latina Dexilia.
Thank you.
We will say that it is early morning in the port city of Corinth. And you have you kind of got the orders to come here yesterday, and you've all just arrived in the city.
Well, there's no time like the present.
Yes. Well, except for bath time. That is also AOC time.
Okay, well, you find the baths. I'm going to go and track down the Dexius family.
Well.
And I will join you instead of attending to the baths.
I suppose I should see to those children as well.
Baths are traditionally an afternoon thing. I mean, you can go anytime. There are people who are there all day long, but... All right, it takes some difficulty because none of you have ever been to Corinth before. But after an hour or 2, you do manage to find the address. And it's a small house, a modest house. Not really where you'd expect a trio of young patricians to be staying. Definitely in a working class neighborhood.
Oh,
Looks like they might have fallen on some hard times.
Oh.
Or they're trying to remain inconspicuous.
My word. Yeah, well, they probably have only like 2 servants.
Either way, let's proceed.
Yep.
Okay, a young man opens the door and says, good morning. How can we help you?
Camillus?
Oh, no, sir. That would be... would you like to speak with him? This is a slave.
Okay. Yes.
And you are?
I am Tedious. Is it Lepidus or Lepidus?
You tell me it's your name. Whatever flows, whatever rolls off your tongue easiest.
Right.
Let's go with that.
Okay. My name is Tedious Lepidus. We were sent by insert patron name here.
Oh yes, they've been expecting you. Please, why don't you all come in? I've been instructed to take you to the gardens.
Thank you.
So you are taken through this home, and although it's a modest home, it's still rather well appointed. It's a working class, but not middle class. It's a middle class home. So you're taken through this home and into a nice set of gardens where you're seated. A few minutes later, a slave comes out with some fruit, watered down wine, and some bread. And he kind of places it on a table in front of all of you and says, they'll be with you shortly. Please, and refresh yourselves and make yourselves comfortable.
How is the wine?
Which character is asking?
My character. I'll kill Akia. Oh, Okia. There we go. Sorry, ran over my words there.
The patrician. Roll your status.
There we go. Let's see. Status. Where are you on this? There we go. That would be 31. That'd be 13 out of 60.
Oh, the wine's terrible. It's one step below pedestrian.
Yep. I take one sip and then set the glass down and push it back to the middle of the table.
Anybody with a status lower than 50, it's perfectly fine.
This is a fine wine indeed.
It's actually not bad. It's just not as good as you're used to.
I love this wine. They have such great wine out here in Greece.
I suppose.
Yeah, Darina doesn't say anything. She just sips her glass and stares across the table. Someone pushed it away.
Okay, 4 people actually come out. 2 men and a woman who are obviously siblings. They have very similar features. They are ethnically, they look to be a mix of Roman and Greek, which is a look you see in Corinth a lot because it's, a very Romanized city. And a man who actually looks Syrian. The Syrian man greets you and says, my name, greetings. My name is Barudis. Welcome to my home. Please, if you need anything, call on me. I will be around, and I will leave you to your, and he actually introduces the others. This is Dexius Telenius, his brother, Dexius Commius, and the lady Latina Dexilia. And they're like, thank you, thank you so much. And they actually thank him, and he bows to them, shakes the hand of the eldest son, and retreats. And Telenius, waits until he is out of earshot, and all of you are alone in the gardens. And he says, "Thank you for coming. We're pleased that you got here so quickly. We're hoping to get this situation rectified as quickly as possible. It's a bit of it would be scandalous if it got out that we were staying here."
What exactly is the situation?
And they say, Baratus is actually a freedman of my father. We've known him our whole life. And quite frankly, we didn't have anywhere else to go. Latina says, maybe we should start at the beginning. These people have come a long way. It would be better if we could tell them the story once instead of telling it to them in pieces. And the younger son says, we really need your help. We believe our father may have been either mad or ensorcelled. And she just shoots him a look like, didn't I just say we're going to take this from the beginning? So you can see they're not a united front.
Well, why don't we take it from the top, so to speak, and just say tell the story, and then anything that stands out to us, we'll ask questions about the more important things. But yeah, it's probably a good idea to get the big picture.
Okay. Latina steps forward and says, brothers, I think I should do the talking. And they say, fine. And they sip their wine. But as she's telling this narrative, they interrupt her constantly. So I'm just going to kind of give you certain facts. If you wish to question them as facts come up, just interrupt me as if you would interrupt them. Or if you wish to wait to the end, that's also up to you. As you look them over, you can see that they don't appear well rested, and their clothes appears lived in. So she begins. Our father is Quintus Dexius Latinius. Our mother has been passed for at least a decade. He has never remarried, thankfully. It's been us and our father for many years. My father is a wealthy man with shipping interests, passed on through several generations of our family. He has always had a fascination with clockwork toys. You know, the wind up things that move or make sounds. They are quite popular with children. Some of them, I do see that they can be interesting and amusing, but my father has always been quite attached to them. Recently, he's taken on a new client, an engineer named Nectarius Callis. Nectarius makes clockwork devices, water clocks, wind-up toys, and other such machines. He's been making them exclusively for my father for about a year now. My father's become more and more involved with this man's doing until about 3 months ago. He actually moved Nectarius and two of his associates into our villa. At this point, one of her brothers, the older one, interrupts her and says, not only moved him in, but gave them run of the household, power to order around the slaves as they saw fit, and access to the family's coffers. He's also taken over some of the back rooms, which he now keeps locked. Locked. A guest, locked doors. We can't even go in there. She puts her hand on her elder brother, and he kind of like settles down. And she says, well, we spoke amongst ourselves about this, and we decided we would talk to our father about this. We felt that this influence was dangerous. We didn't know what these people were doing with the family's money or why they were in our home. We felt that this was maybe a little bit, more than a client-patron relationship. So about the same time, my father received the most ingenious of all of his clockwork items. It was a bird, a jay, a clockwork jay, that when wound up, it would tweet. And my father claimed that although we could only hear random tweets, he heard a distinct message. It was said, he told us that only the owner of the jay would ever understand what it was saying. And what it did was whisper the coming events of the next day. It foretold the future a day in advance. We didn't believe him. All we heard was tweeting. And the younger brother says, it was at this time we felt that he might be going mad and that these people were definitely taking advantage of him. So we decided we were going to talk to him about possibly renting a house for these people instead of having them in our home, and possibly having one of the accountant slaves oversee them so that they were only withdrawing a certain amount. They didn't have total access to our business, our business accounts. And when we went to speak with him on this, he said that he flew into an immediate rage, saying that the Jay had warned them this was coming, that we would be betraying him, and that this would be the first step to us having him killed. And he banished us. He banished us from the home, from our home with only what we were wearing. And he had the servants basically throw us out.
That's horrible.
My word.
Seems very uncharacteristic of him.
Oh, it is. And you know, that the youngest says that's why we think that these engineers may have put some kind of spell on him through that bird.
Do you know anything about the backgrounds of these people? This Necarious Callus and his henchmen?
No, we didn't. We'd never heard of him before.
Did your father happen to say what signifies ownership of the bird? Is it just holding the bird, or is there some type of way of taking possession of it?
The eldest says, no, he never shared any information on that. The bird was made for him and given to him by these people.
What were these people doing before your father came along? Do you know where they're from, or where he met them?
No, it's just suddenly they were showing up with some gifts for him, looking for patronage. They probably heard that he had purchased Clockworks from other engineers, and it was a wealthy collector of them. But we don't know how they found out about him or where they came from. But we really need this relationship severed. We've heard through friends that my father has summoned the family lawyer. And we're afraid that he's planning to write us out of his will.
That would be a shame.
Right. Have you seen the bird? Does it seem to have like a mechanism to wind up the mechanism, or?
Yes, it has a key on its back.
I have a
meaning one of the winding keys, you know.
Yeah, I have kind of just a setting question. Are there guilds or anything like that? Where you would be able to, like a Clockwork Makers Guild or a...
That's more of a guilds are more of a medieval thing.
But is there anything like that's similar?
Not for something as obscure as Clockworks. Okay. There probably would be a stonemasons union, a dock workers union, kind of like a trade organization. Mm-hmm. But for something as obscure as clockwork making, no.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, there are probably only a handful of people in the Empire who do such work.
What makes you so certain that this influence is sorcerous in nature?
My father has never, the eldest said, my father has never really reacted so violently or aggressively with us. I mean, we're his children. We're his only children. You know, he's been training me to inherit and run the family business. And now I don't even have access to it. I don't have, to scold us, surely, to disagree with us. Fine. I understand that. But to cast his own flesh and blood out into the street in favor of these strangers who are making him toys. These are not the actions of a logical mind.
Perhaps.
How old is your father?
Their father is about 55.
Hmm.
And they're all in about their 30s.
Yeah.
Although the youngest is probably about 24. So they all range between about 32 and 24.
Are there any other engineers that your father used to buy these sort of mechanisms from before he took on this current client?
They give you the names of two who work in Corinth, but they say that he has not purchased anything from them in many years. In over a year, because he's kind of had the soul. They kind of think for a minute as I look up some names. Bear with me a moment.
While you're doing that, do the Romans keep records of people who are in and out of town?
Well, in a town as big as this, a major port. Actually, Corinth has 2 ports. So there are a lot of people coming and going. I don't think they would record the name of everyone in and out of the city. Or if they did, it'd be some massive archives.
Right.
The 2 engineers are Alistor and Kimon.
And these engineers are local?
Yes,
Corinth?
they're local. They're not really sure where you'd find them. They said they always came to the house. We assume they have a shop somewhere. And basically, like the eldest says, as they should. There's no need to set up a shop in my father's house. They say that there's a delicate thing that we must discuss with you as well. Several, in fact. We're cut off from our funds, so we can't pay you. But if you can restore us to our place in the house, we would regain access to our accounts and could pay you, handsomely. So, are you still willing to take this on?
I am.
How much would you pay us once your accounts were restored?
They will say that we can pay each of you 1,000 sesterces, which is not bad for a night's work, because he's meeting with our lawyer tomorrow.
Done.
Of course, I'll help you. It is our duty to
Who's the lawyer?
maintain order.
1 second. The lawyer is a family friend, a longtime family friend named. I just had it. Nabadius.
And he's a longtime family friend, so he's familiar with your father and your father's personality.
Yes, he's the one of his servants is actually the person who told us that my father had summoned him. And as a favor to us, he told them that he was too busy to attend him for the next several days, which was untrue. He just knew that we'd had a falling out with our father and wanted to give us time to make amends before my father did anything hasty. But he did say that if my father, he couldn't put off my father for very long, and that he was required by law to make any changes to the will my father saw fit. I believe he was hoping that we would, throw ourselves on our father's mercy, make whatever apologies were necessary, but our father won't even let us in the building.
How accessible is your father?
He's not receiving visitors at all. And we are also told that all of his clients are being turned away. He's not receiving, he's not giving out patronage any longer. He's basically completely cut off the household, which will be disastrous for not only our reputation, but our business contacts. I've been ordered nowhere near our warehouses, so they're now being run by our freedmen employees who are receiving no instructions from my father, and no instructions other than to not let us have anything to do with running the business.
And where could we find this Nabadius?
They know where Nabadius lives, and they can give you directions to the lawyer's home.
Excellent.
Okay, so they're going to say, so this is what we would like you to accomplish. One, get rid of Nictorius, get him and his cronies out of my father's house. If you can find evidence of his sorcery, bring it forward so that we can have him arrested. We would love to see him put on trial. And the eldest son says, and if possible, if that charlatan is keeping records of the money he's withdrawn from the family's account, I'd like those records recovered so that we can pursue refunds and get an accounting of how much damage has been done to the family's fortunes.
And if such evidence is not available?
Well, you can't find what's not available, I suppose. And the eldest son looks over at you and says, we'll speak in private after.
That was going to be my next question.
They said, well, first, we also want my father separated from that machine, that Clockwork J. We feel that may be the source of his madness. He was lucid, even reasonable before that. I mean, yes, his obsession with these toys had grown, but he'd never turned on us before then. And the youngest says, look, first and foremost, make sure that my father is safe, even if he has to be restrained. If we get a doctor in or possibly take him to the temple, maybe we can have his madness dispelled. We can summon our lawyer to have him deemed, medically unfit to oversee his own affairs. But, we don't want our father harmed. And if you saw him, I would not doubt he would react violently to efforts to have this thing taken from him. And, he's not, he looks over at the gladiator, he's a frail old man. We don't really want him roughed up if that can be helped. We certainly don't want him injured or killed. Everybody roll a spot hidden.
I see nothing.
I missed mine.
I made mine. Oh,
I made mine.
Wine is terrible.
Whoever made it, when the youngest says we don't want him killed, the eldest kind of looks over at him sharply and then kind of like nods to you like, yeah, let's talk after.
Okay.
The youngest says also, the household slaves have been put under the command of these engineers. We've grown up with most of them. They may be ordered to protect the household. None of them are warriors or guards. If you could not hurt them, I mean, surely, they're looking over at you. You've got the courier, who's kind of an outdoorsman, the gladiator, and the bodyguard, who are just intimidating as AF. So they're like, surely you should be able to subdue them without causing them too much harm.
Nonchalantly crack my knuckles.
And they said, and there's also Tellius. Please, whatever you do, don't hurt Tellius.
And Tellius is the head serpent?
Oh no, Tellius is Tellius is our dog.
Ah.
He used to be a guard dog, but that was probably about 7 years ago. He's very old. He's more of a pet than anything now. But if he sees people he doesn't know, there may be some barking, possibly a lunge. If he tries to bite you, I don't think there's many teeth left. We'd hate for him to be hurt.
Don't hurt dog. Got it.
Well, that goes without saying.
We don't want our John Wick on our hands.
And more importantly, Wes,
What?
no dog imitations.
Okay.
What?
All right. So who noticed the eldest son make that gesture?
I did.
I
Did
did.
it as well.
The ruffians.
Okay.
Wine is terrible. That's all I do.
All right. So
Stop drinking it.
I didn't. I still remember it.
Latinia, the daughter, goes up to Osceola, the patrician among you, and says, there's another matter I wish to speak to you with. Would you attend me?
It would be my pleasure.
And she leads you out for a private conversation. Now, the youngest son, Commius, he kind of slides up to Thaddeus, the courier, because they're about the same age. They're younger men. He says, there's a delicate matter I'd wish to speak with you in private about. Do you think that, you could take a walk with me?
Sure.
Okay, and as you leave with him, the eldest son is left with the rest of you, the other three. And he says, now that the more sensitive types are gone, the four of us can have a real conversation.
We're listening.
Okay, so I'm going to ask that these three scenes happen independently of each other. If the person doesn't wish to discuss what happens, the other character has no knowledge. So
we do it all the time.
Okay.
I say nothing.
Okay, so the conversation between the patrician ladies. Okay, so you go into another room. Actually, you go into the kitchen and have a seat. And as you go in, the kitchen staff is all flustered because there's these two patrician women coming in. And she says, no, it's fine. It's fine. She knows most of them. They used to be slaves and now they're living of her household. And she says, Gela, do you have any of those sweetbreads I'm so fond of? We'd like to sit by the hearth and maybe have a cup of tea and, a quick chat away from the men. And like, certainly, mistress. And she makes you guys some tea and brings you out some cakes and says, okay, there's what I'm about to speak with you. I hope you will keep in confidence between us. And she waits for your answer.
Add another 50 sesterce to the price. No, I'm kidding. Yes.
You're not here. Yeah.
My bad.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. Are you actually the type of person who would go to her brothers with this? Or is your word valid? Because she's going to roll an insight on your reply.
Well, of course. Men don't always need to know every single detail. I mean, they're all they want to do is things they don't need to know about.
Is that a true statement from your character?
That is a true statement from my character.
Okay. She believes it and will confide in you. And she says, I suspect that my brother, my eldest brother, wants the J for himself.
That is not an unreasonable suspicion if he actually thinks it works.
Whether it works or not, one thing I'm sure of is that I want it destroyed. I believe that it has had a horrible effect on my father's mind. I'm afraid he may never be free of it while this thing is active. Now, it's made of some precious metals and gemstones. Monetarily, physically, it's probably worth a fortune.
Yep.
So it's still worth something in pieces. But I really think that it is too dangerous to be kept whole.
Oh.
So I want it smashed. I want it inoperable. I want it destroyed.
Oh, you are entirely right. I mean, when these disturbing forces get involved, they do terrible things.
Now, yes, I'm sure that my brother is plotting to take over control of the household from my father. And that's probably for the best at this point with the damage my father is causing. But I do not wish to trade one madman for another. So by destroying this, I'm hoping to save my brother from his own ambitions.
You were right to come to me. You were right to come to me.
Now, I was not able to take anything from the house. I've heard rumors that our father has gone through our rooms and is selling off items of our property to raise money. And I'm also hearing that these engineers are having shipments of rare goods brought into the house on a daily basis. So they're probably spending a fortune. Now, I have all of my mother's jewelry secured in a box hidden in my room. I don't know if they've found the box, but if you at the very least, I would like that box brought to me, whether my father can be saved or not. It would be enough money for me to start a new life somewhere. And I will, if you can bring me the box, I'm willing to part with one item of your choosing.
Well, that is very kind of you.
And she says that it is behind the mosaic of Poseidon in her room.
Mm-hmm.
And she just says, press the 3 eyes of the dolphins and the clamshell will open up to reveal a compartment with the box. I live in my mother's old room. This was her hiding place. And now it's mine.
See, well, I recommend that if you're going to start a new life, widowhood is a good position to start in.
She says I am a widow.
Then you already are off to a good start.
Well, I would not say that. He was not an uncomely man.
Oh, I know I can be, but there are few worthy men left in the Empire.
She says, "You're a widow yourself, then." And then you guys fall into small talk.
Yep.
And you find that she's the quintessential Roman matron. She's smart and smart enough to keep her head down and be a power broker behind the scenes.
Mhm.
You know, she's willing to back her brother's power play, but only so far. And she completely discounts her younger brother as a non-factor.
Oh boy.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Tacius and his conversation with Commius.
Sure.
Okay. So Commius says, I hope that you'll understand and not judge me too harshly, but there are some matters just as urgent as my love for my father.
Such as?
My love for Andorra. And he just stares at you as if you'd know who that is.
I'm going to assume that's not another family dog.
Are you going to say that?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Andorra, she's a slave in my father's household. She came to us 3 years ago. And I've been putting aside money. I've been kind of giving her money to pay for, that she could save up and give to my father to purchase her freedom so that then we could be married.
And you obviously, do you want us to get her out of the house or just not harm her?
Even I don't want her harmed. God no. I do want her brought out of the house. Whether if my father can't be saved, I still want her freed from the household, and I will give you what money I do have. I was able to get out with certain pieces of jewelry which I've sold. She's worth 500 sesterci to me, which honestly is nothing for a slave. No. It's not a lot of money. He looks a little nervous.
I'll definitely do my best to get your love out of there. Make an extra effort. Obviously, it sounds like the whole household is suffering.
Quite.
But we will definitely make a concerted effort to help get her out for you.
And he describes her in the terms that only a foolish young man in love could describe a woman. But you have a pretty good idea you could pick her out.
Okay.
And he says she is not to be harmed. No harm is to come to her.
I don't see why we would harm anybody in your household, except for the rogues that have taken over.
He says, "Thank you. They're worth a lot to me."
Okay. They.
He immediately becomes ashen and says, "No, I meant her."
Okay. Now's the time to come clean, man. If you have any secrets or anything that you need done, now's the time to let me know, because I can't read minds.
Okay.
Do you have
make a persuade roll. Oh.
Where is my persuade? It's in alphabetical order, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I totally failed that.
All right. You totally fail it, but as I was telling you to roll, you made another comment about children.
Yeah.
Which pushes him over the edge and says, "Not yet."
Ah, okay.
He goes, I've only just found out. But to think that, my unborn child and my love are captives in this house ruled by these men, keeping us, controlling my father with whatever evil magic. I can't sleep. I can't eat. You've got to get her out.
Does anybody else know that she's pregnant?
Oh, dear me, no. If my brother knew, he'd probably have her sold.
Well, no,
or worse.
Okay, but just in terms of like anybody in the household, because that is leverage. So,
I don't believe so.
Okay, I just don't want to go in there knowing that one of our patrons is compromised.
And he says, "Do I have your assurances? Do we have a deal?"
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Okay, he says, "I'm going to tell you this in confidence. Do not, but please, you cannot let my brother or my sister stop you from bringing her out. They just don't understand. They've never been in love. We've broken the locks on one of the back doors so that she could sneak out and visit with me. And he tells you which window the lock has been broken in the back of the house. And he says, I don't know if they will have found it. It's been disabled in a way that it looks like it's locked, but when you push the window up, it just kind of comes off the hinge."
Mm-hmm. And that's her chambers?
It leads into the slave quarters, yes.
And how close to the rest of the house are the slave quarters?
Oh, the slave quarters are a room in the house.
No, I'm sorry. What's the proximity to like the back rooms that have been taken over by Nicarius?
It's more to the side of the house.
Okay. Maybe we can get maybe you could draw us up a quick map of the house before we do anything.
I can do that. Let me go do that now.
Okay. That'd be great.
All right. I will be emailing you all in a minute.
We have G map.
Banana.
Okay, you should have that.
Okay.
And disclaimer, this is off the internet. This is not our map to use. So we'll be making a new map when we get this published.
Okay.
But this is down and dirty Conround. So
okay, I got it.
Okay, now so those.
Which one would be the window?
Okay, we're going to say the room is the middle 9 on the back side, on the top side.
Okay, and 6 is where they've sequestered themselves.
6 is the garden.
Okay.
They've taken over. We're going to say 7.
Okay.
Quick question: where would the mother? Where would the sister's room be?
The sisters, the 3 children's rooms are going to the 2 boys are in room 9. On the other side, the father is 8. Those 2 rooms. You see the 8 with the adjoining room on the bottom half of the map.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's the father's. The boys share the middle 9, and the wife is the forward 9. The sister's the forward 9.
oh, okay.
Excellent. Cool. Well, thank you.
All right, so now to the last of the 3 meetings. Talinius, he comes forward and he says, so which characters is he addressing? This is the bodyguard, the huntress, and the
Gladiator.
gladiator. So he's got all of the teeth of the party. And he says, look, my father has completely lost his mind. He's going to destroy this household. Like, if he cannot be freed from Necarius's influence, he must not be allowed to meet with our lawyer the next day. Do you understand me?
That might cost you a little extra.
I'm willing to pay.
Okay.
Oh,
Our initial contract is that he is not to be harmed.
I'm negotiating a separate contract. Call it an amended contract. If my father is out of the picture, I am in control of the house. Now, that charlatan who has caused all of this trouble, my sister may be sensitive enough to think that we can take him to court. I don't want that kind of scandal. And I don't want to leave anything to chance. I want that man dead.
That I can agree to. Without amending any contracts.
Good. I would much prefer the point of a sword to the a jail cell for that bastard. His death would restore the good name to the family. And the last thing, this toy of my father's, bring it to me. Intact.
Understood.
Do this for me, and I will take you on as a permanent client. I can be a very generous patron.
Generosity aside, if this thing is as dangerous as you think it is, why would you want it?
He says there are people who would pay a fortune for it. Certain collectors, certain mystical collectors. That
Certain things aren't worth that risk.
I'll bring it to you.
Good. And he kind of looks at the huntress, like,
Oh, I won't interfere with what you want, but I won't be the one to give it to you.
oh, then we don't have a problem. Well, okay then. It seems that I've chosen well. Now, is there anything else you need from me?
Out of character, I already have a patron, right? Since
You can have more than one.
okay, all
Most
right,
people have multiple patrons.
okay.
Got to hustle.
Yeah, it's all about the struggle is real.
Yeah, I'm a professional patron.
Okay, so at that point, if you have no other questions for the children,
I'm set.
Well, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my motivation.
That was good.
Paycheck.
all right, the rest is up to you guys.
All right.
I guess we all meet up after. Shall we go speak to these other engineers, Alistair and Kaman?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Maybe they've heard something.
Yeah.
This
I
whole
think
thing
that would be a
leaves
good
me
starting
bit
point.
Unsettled.
All right, it will take some questions to find them.
Is there like a district, maybe like a Clockwork district or something like that, or a marketplace?
You go to the main market and you ask about. It takes a little bit of time, but you are directed to the shops of both men, who are actually right up the street from one another.
Oh, excellent.
How convenient.
No, that's kind of. Then they can keep tabs on each other.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and steal the magic clockmaking secrets.
Or, have competitive pricing.
It's kind of like the McDonald's.
garment.
The McDonald's right across the street from the Wendy's.
Yep.
Or, like the garment district.
Right.
Where they all had all their shops so they can remain competitive with each other.
Yeah. $2 for silk. I'll do it for $150.
Who should we
Look for the
visit first?
throngs of plebeian kids staring in wonder.
Who should we visit first, or should we maybe split up?
Well, remember, you've got to get everything done before dawn.
Yeah, we don't
That's
have
a
a
good point.
time.
Yeah.
All right, we'll split up. We'll take one talkie type and at least one muscle.
And what time is it right now in the daytime?
Okay, you got there at dawn. It took you didn't go to the bathhouse, which was good. So you got there. I'm going to say that it's probably about, you were there for a while with the main meeting and the secondary meeting. So everyone is hungry, and it's probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I haven't changed outfits yet. How sad.
Can get some street
Just a
food
crime.
right on over.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there like Roman street food or like food truck equivalent at the
Yes,
time?
there are. There are street carts. There are restaurants that have open windows that you just get online and get some kind of a hand pie or so it's very easy to eat on the go. Romans were all about convenience.
I would say that grabbing lunch would be a good pretext for our questioning to locate the engineers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to say that you find directions while you're online at a bunch of different food spots.
I got a falafel wrap.
Good old Giuseppe's lamb on a stick.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, probably just lamb.
Grilled fish with onion and lemon.
Taste it.
And some flatbread.
I
tell you, I never eat as good as when I host Cthulhu Invictus. Because we always go for like the cheese and the wine and the bread and the fruit. And
I'm waiting for the guys to go. You like the juice? The juice is good, huh?
No, it hurts us.
So I'll take the juice.
Date fresh from Egypt.
There are several wine merchants, and they're giving one guy's like he has these tiny little cups, and he's offering samples, and he's like, if this is not the best wine you've ever had,
Is it actually good wine?
hat.
Do you try the sample?
I will try the sample.
It is actually really, really good.
All right, here you go, my good man. I'll buy a jug of that.
Great.
Okay, so they're selling jugs of the concentrate because then you mix it with water.
There you go.
And it's like 3 times what you would normally pay. It's like 400 sesterces.
What? All right, let's bargain on here.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think bargain is charm now, I think. Hold on.
I'm gonna bargain the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Give
just so you know, Wes is gonna just threaten him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I would do
That's how that
if I were a lawyer.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
That has never stopped you before.
Does that mean? Do you make your charm roll?
I will roll that charm. Woo! 08. I am Lyndon Johnson on him.
He says,
Of course, you would waste that roll.
He says, for such a noble woman, I am willing to part with a jug for half its value out of great personal loss to myself.
Of course, you are, my good man. Bless you, you are. For you know how to treat your patron.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm going to be leaning on a wall.
I need to go to the bathhouse now.
Go, Jupiter's beard.
Mm.
Is this how it's gonna be the whole time?
Yeah.
Talking to Rodney's character.
All right. So
He's a fair man in the
you
end.
grab lunch and you get this jug of really good concentrate wine, but you'd have to dilute it to really enjoy it, which wouldn't be that hard. I mean, you could get a few empty water skins and go to a local fountain.
Yep.
And I mean, this is enough wine for 12 people to get completely wrecked on.
Oh, good. It's probably great, great wine for bribing engineers for information.
Mm.
And slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that what you're talking about? I just need a drink. Ah, man.
All right, so are you heading to the bathhouse, or are you going to stay on?
No,
point?
I would.
That was
Staying
a
on
joke.
point. Yeah.
Don't joke about these things. Romans take them quite seriously.
How dare you threaten me with a bath and not deliver?
All right, so you get to the first of the two shops. And again, it's you can walk right in, you see several people working. There's a young boy sweeping. A young woman comes out and welcomes you to the shop and asks, please look around. We're here to answer any questions. And you see there are like little clockwork toys, and mostly here are water clocks, timepieces that record the that are powered by gravity and water.
Oh, how beautiful.
Boy, is your master in?
Yes, who may I say is calling?
We are interested in his creations.
Well, sir, the woman steps in and says, I've been his apprentice for many years. I'm sure I can answer any questions you might have. My master is quite busy working in the back.
Have you heard of a man by the name of Nicarius Callus?
Roll your luck.
That's a 0.6. Woo! I believe that is a success at my current level. Oh, yes, definitely.
You mean the tinker who's working with the Dexius family?
Yes, that would be the one. Word spreads quick in this trade, I see.
She appears. She hesitates before answering, which is odd because she seemed so eloquent just a moment ago. And she says, well, it's not polite for me to comment on the work of another colleague.
What if we're not interested in his work?
Well, it wouldn't be a good Christian of me to comment on his character. And yes, Christian is a thing.
What if I were to tell you a man's life were in danger because of Callus?
What if I was to tell you I wouldn't be surprised by that fact?
Oh,
At which point the master comes out and he goes, Beth, that's enough. And she kind of nods and says, excuse me, sir. And he comes out and he says, what's all this about?
We seek to know about Nicarius Callus.
The man's a villain. What more do you need to know? I am ashamed that we share anything in common. I'm an honest man. All of my items here, they follow certain rules. They may seem wondrous, but they follow certain rules. The wind of a spring, the drop of water, hinges, gears. These are the things I deal in. They are honest.
And you say Callus's work is different from this?
I would say so, yes. And so would he. We don't treat with that sort of thing.
Certainly, certainly.
And he has taken my best client. He has taken my finest patron, all to his own. So his arrival in the city has affected many of us in this trade.
Which engineer are we speaking with?
The first one.
Alistair.
Engineer A.
Alistair.
Yes, it's Engineer A.
Yeah. So
He says, I'm not going to make an accusation. I'm not going to slander anyone.
Well, if you were speaking hypothetically about someone, what villainous things would he have hypothetically done?
Well, I know that he is still in that man's house and the man's children are not there. I would not be surprised if he had the children thrown out.
But how could a man have such power over a father to his children?
yeah.
How indeed?
That's what I asked you.
You're going to need to make a persuade check.
Could I do it charmy?
No, because he does not want to. He does not want to make an accusation he can't prove.
Right.
Even speaking hypothetically.
He doesn't want to bear that false witness.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I totally botched that roll.
Oh.
He says, let's just say I do not wish to voice an opinion of someone I consider dangerous.
Understandable. Would he be able to do such a thing through his machines, his devices? Is that possible?
Okay, so basically you're still needling for the same info.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a push roll if you want to go there. If you want to push it, I'll allow it. But he's throwing you out of here.
Actually, is another try bribing him into losing his tongue
With some strong drink, perhaps, Wes?
well, that could work. It was art there.
Well, I mean, didn't we split up?
Oh, I wasn't sure we did or not. Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
All right, I'm going to ask
We
you
were.
right now, did you split up and hit both of these guys at once?
That would make more sense, actually, since you don't want to save time.
All right, so who is here and who's going to speak to the other guy?
Well, I'm here, obviously.
Yeah,
Clearly.
those two were there,
Right.
for sure.
Okay,
As
so we're
is-
gonna-
as is Rodney.
The other one.
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of established itself.
That's actually better because if you fail this roll, I'm going to have a penalty roll. I was going to have a penalty roll on the other guy.
All right. So I'll push it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? We got
Okay,
thrown
wait,
out.
are you pushing it with the offer of a bribe?
I can't push it with the offer of a bribe.
Well, we could have
well, I guess I
decided.
could.
We're talking about doing that before we got there, so we could have done that and had the water flask with the wine in it.
Well, he could
All right.
he could push it with me standing behind him, scowling.
Oh, well, that would be an intimidation roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't-
the
So
only-
you can roll intimidate right now and not push it.
I'll
Or you
roll
can
intimidate.
Okay, roll.
All right. That's much better.
43 of 45.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. He calls you into this. Come into my back office. Come into my workshop. And he says, Beth, close up shop for a while.
Oh,
And he tells you what I'm to tell you is not to be repeated. And you did not hear it from me.
I don't even know who you are.
Understandable.
He says that there is talk of those in my trade falling sway to dark influences, that there are clockworks that are more than just machines. Clockworks that can make decisions. Clockworks that
Machines that think as a man.
machines that have a will and a soul of their own. There are people who would trade their humanity for such knowledge to create such things. And I believe Nicarius is one of those men. It was said, he says, he looks at you. He goes, if I were to speak of the fallen kingdoms, would you know of what I speak?
Perhaps.
Possibly.
He goes, then I will not speak of them.
Do you talk of... does my 11% of...
The fallen kingdoms are known to anyone who has any knowledge of the mythos. These are the kingdoms of Lumeria, Hyperborea, Mu, Stygia, Atlantis. These are the ancient, powerful, magical kingdoms that predate recorded human history. Except for Atlantis, if you consider that actual history and not the hearsay of Egyptian scholars.
So if I name drop, well, are you speaking of Mu?
He says such clockworks were common in the fallen kingdom. Dangerous things with a will of their own, things that could kill. These are stories that tinkers tell to their apprentices. And then when we become masters, we pretend we no longer believe them.
So an unscrupulous man would use this to wheedle away another's fortune.
When I hear of a tinker creating a clockwork that causes a man to turn on his children, let's just say this is not someone I want to bear witness against.
Understand.
But someone like that poisons everything I stand for. But if you seek to oppose him, take heed. I believe he is a dangerous man.
Do these clockworks work like your normal clockworks? They just
Oh no,
think for themselves?
they work nothing like the clockworks we create. It's said that they can move without use of a key or a spring. I would not touch such a thing.
Sounds wise.
Yeah. Well, you've been a great help.
Again, you did not hear this from me.
Your name will never be mentioned.
And may the gods favor your efforts. He reopens the shop and shows you out.
Well, that's a kick in the teeth.
I was thinking something similar.
I was as well.
Let us gather our other companions and see how they fared.
Okay, so meanwhile at the other shop, this one has a lot more. It seems to be like kitchen clockwork items, things that are powered by steam. There's like a pot that when the water boils, this little fan spins and rings these bells. It's really kind of cute.
Oh.
Then there's some replicas of these bowls that you put water in and then you boil the water inside, and it causes the head to move up and down and it make this grunting noise. So a lot of these toys are more like steam-powered kitchen gadgets, like entertaining. And there's one massive clock that when it's wound, a snake kind of comes out every hour and bangs its and like mock strikes a bell.
Ah!
Wow.
It's kind of a cuckoo clock with instead of that, it's like a snake.
It's impressive.
Oh yes.
And the guy comes out and says, thank you. We're that's our newest item. We've only made one other, and we have this prototype in the shop. But we can install this in any building. This would be the perfect conversation piece for any dining hall in the Empire. We're very proud of it.
As you should be. We're not here for that business.
Yep.
We need to speak to the proprietor of this establishment.
You are speaking with him. How can I help you? And if you've not come to buy something, why should I speak with you?
Well, we've
If
come
you-
for information. And this one here might be willing to buy something, maybe.
Well, let me hear what information you want, and then I'll tell you what items will require my cooperation. And he kind of like laughs. He's kind of half joking.
Well, yes. Well, my good sir, we're curious about someone else in your trade, Anakias Callis.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Uh,
I hear dice.
Yep. Can I roll spot it? Yeah. Or do I roll insight on that?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Do I have insight? Nope. I got nothing.
That's funny. One would assume that a man that stole one of the best clients for this sort of work would be well known amongst his compatriots.
Okay, make a persuade check. I'm going to consider that you're calling him on his bullshit.
No, let's just go ahead and fail this because I don't have persuade.
See, this is why you got to look at your characters before you.
Yeah. I am. I just tried to see me at.
Oh
Earn
my
that
god,
luck.
I made it with an 11.
All right. He goes, oh, that bastard. Is that what he's calling himself now?
Oh.
He called himself something before.
He says, well, it just seems a convenient name. From what I
He's
hear,
a friend of ours, so you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about
because
him.
look, from what I've seen of his work, he's quite skilled. He's quite good. I will give the man that. But for him to come from nowhere, he goes, my trade, it's a very small community. We all know one another. Anyone of note has a reputation. We may compete with one another. We may not be We may have our own opinions, but there's a level of respect. No one knows who this man is. No one gets to this level of mastery in my discipline alone. So for this man to come with this name and have this skill, I don't believe it. I believe that this is probably a known master who's changed his name. It would be as if the greatest general of the empire suddenly appeared to lead a great victory, but no one ever remembers him being an enlisted man. It makes no sense. But I will tell you, all through Greece, this name is unknown. And I've asked. I've written letters to my colleagues in Sparta, in Athens, in Rhodes. No one's heard of anyone with that name, which leads me to believe it's not his name.
So that was a fair assumption.
Yep.
But yes, I like to keep tabs on people who steal money from me. Dexius was a good patron. He made a purchase at least every month. Nothing too big, but he enjoyed collecting. And the loss of revenue has hurt my business. And my pride, I will admit, a bit. Is there anything else I can help you with?
I'm leaving it to you, Miss Mouthpiece, because that was lucky that I got what I got.
Yeah. Let's see. Have you let's see. So there's nothing, there's no clues to his past, where he might come from. Perhaps let's see.
No. As I said, I wrote some letters and I came up with nothing. And I know most of the people in this industry.
Let's see. Your trade, you have to order parts at all from similar sources? Or?
Oh, we order materials. We make our own parts.
Oh,
I mean, we are the people who do this sort of thing.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't, I still need brass to make so I would order brass and I would turn that into a cogwheel or a spring.
I've heard he's ordered some like exotic materials, perhaps, but
okay, make a luck roll.
Luck. Let's see. Where are you? Luck on this. There's luck.
This is just to see if she's been keeping this engineer has been keeping track.
17.
I've heard the same thing. I don't know if they're decorative or they have some deeper use, but he has been ordering some odd things.
What sort of odd things? Do you happen to
know? High-end pottery and crystals.
Pottery and crystals.
So I'm told.
From where?
Oh, I've just I'd rather not say.
Oh, come now.
Persuade.
Yep. We'll throw out some persuade here. There we go. That's a 20.
Oh, make it?
Yeah, that makes sense. Persuade.
Okay. Let's just say I've got a friend in the area who has a view into their delivery yard.
All right. Well, let's see. I'll just bring a little skin and go. What? A little wine. Go. Would you happen to recall that friend's name?
Oh, I do enjoy a glass of fine wine, but I enjoy keeping my sources safe more. Because then they wouldn't be my sources now, would they?
Yes, but you know, what we're hoping to do is, try a relationship here. We'll give, we'll take, and go a long way.
Oh, I've given, and so far you haven't bought a thing. So, as for the give and take, my fine lady, I believe it is your turn to complete that equation.
All right, then. Two things I would like then. Let's see. How about that nice tea kettle there? And also, do you happen to have like a if you wanted to disable someone's clockwork mechanism per se, what would be a quick way to do that?
Huh. Well, this pot is a very good purchase item. And as for a trade secret, how to gum up someone's clockwork, he goes, that I will throw in with your purchase. He goes, oh, this will be 1,000 sesterces, by the way.
Oh, 1,000! 1,000! Woo! I want to bargain that down.
Roll your charm.
Yeah, no. 26. Hell no.
So, give me your barter. Give me what you're speaking.
No. This is a teapot. And besides, we're starting something here. We're talking about 450 sesterces for the package deal.
Well, I thought you wanted also the information on how to sabotage the clockwork. I was considering that a package deal.
No. That
but as
is
you
a bonus
said,
to you.
As you said, we are starting a relationship. So I suppose I can give you the expert consultation and the pot for 500 sesterces.
That is acceptable.
He says, well, he didn't hear it from me, but if you would take a handful of molasses mixed with an equal measure of sawdust and sand, applied to an inner workings, it would gum up and clog most clockworks so that they would be not only inoperable, but probably take as much time to repair as building a new one.
Now that is helpful indeed.
And he says, well, let me wrap this up for you.
Oh, thank you.
And perhaps we could celebrate our new relationship with a glass of that wine.
Indeed we shall.
Okay.
We don't have a ton of time. Remember that.
There is always time for wine.
No, we're on limited time.
And he said, well, no, he says, no, shepherdess, I was not forgetting you. Certainly your mistress will allow you to have a glass of wine with us.
Mistress. I'll be outside. Hurry it up.
Well, it's an honest assumption because you are dressed as a shepherdess, and
no, it's not. It wasn't directed at him. That was directed at her.
Right.
There was much rolling of the eyes.
Don't mind her. Don't mind her. She comes from the east. They don't exactly have manners.
All right, so you guys come up, and the huntress is outside looking annoyed as shit. Yes. And your other companion is inside having a glass of wine with that engineer.
Woo!
I will go nowhere else with that one.
I come out. Mission accomplished.
So, who is responsible for the living incarnation of Bacchus being among us?
Wes.
It's not my god.
I was at one point particularly fond of Bacchus
Well-
until I met her.
Well, pleasure is a basic component of all man.
Oh, wait a minute. She's the Epicurean.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I knew I had an Epicurean in that group somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
Yeah,
was only
don't-
one place that was ever going to end up.
No, don't blame Wes. That one's on me.
No, we can still blame Wes for that one.
I ran
You
with
have to pick it.
He chose that deliberately.
There was no way he'd know that she's written as an Epicurean.
All of his characters are Epicurean.
Yep. This character was going to be this character, whether it was Epicurean or not.
I just chose the highest class character, and boom, Epicurean right there.
Well, you lucked out, man.
And he rubbed his hands in sadistic glee.
Yep.
This is like your Reese's peanut butter cup character.
We weren't kidding when we said it always ends up like this.
All right. The good news is you have found out some shards of information. The bad news is you've eaten up several hours to do it. And it is now about 4 p.m.
Well, I would say that knowing what we know, that we.
So do you
With
share
haste.
everything you know with every other team member?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely share it with Lily's character. You're a huntress, so you're an archer, correct? Or are you a spear lady?
A little bit of both.
It's a little more interesting than that.
Yeah.
Use
How much
boomerang.
of this would I don't think I would have gone into extreme details about what she does with them.
Well, I just like to figure out by what you're packing.
Do they see your primary weapon? I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to hide.
Yeah, she's definitely like they've seen the weapon.
All right, well, let them know what it is.
It's a crossbow with 12 super tip bolts.
Ooh, a crossbow.
It's a very rare, very expensive
very
item.
expensive crossbow.
You would not expect.
Does not look like something she should own.
Yeah.
So she's a British shepherdess who wields a very finely crafted crossbow.
Is that Chinese, perhaps?
No, they had them. They had them in the East, in the West. They weren't as good as the Chinese ones, but crossbows are a thing.
Yeah.
You said it was very fine, so.
Oh, she's got a really good one.
Yeah. I just have a regular bow and a knife.
You're packing your bow around and boozing it up?
Oh,
Did you say knife with an Australian accent?
I did.
Knife.
Oh, and please keep in mind that it is illegal to carry a knife in ancient Rome, and everyone did it.
Yep.
So you don't have it openly like on
No,
your
no.
belt, but
Oh,
you've got and like your crossbow is probably covered with
It's covered with
bit
a
of
cloak or
cloth.
something, probably.
Right. So you're not like walking around.
So yeah, she just kind of brushes her cloak aside to show them.
My
And
knife, my knife
covers
is
it
tucked
again.
into my morning tunic because I've sadly not changed to my afternoon tunic yet.
Right.
Well, once
You're more
our patrician is done imbibing the spirits,
Woo!
I say we go and loose a spirit from this callous's body.
Yeah, I told you guys what we found out too.
Yes, we found it all. I was told that too.
Have you finally crawled your ass out of that building? and
It
stuff?
was one glass. It was one glass. You need to seal a relationship.
You don't down wine. You sip that shit.
You reek of a vineyard, patrician.
Oh, if one does not smell of a vineyard, one can never ascend to the rank of a proper patrician.
Mm.
You heard it here first. The upper class is wasted all the time.
All the time. So yeah, I suppose we need to find a way into the estate now.
Oh, well,
Or we can talk to the lawyer and see if the lawyer can stall.
that might be a good idea, but I might know a thing or two about getting into this place.
I don't think you should talk to a lawyer at all. I think talking to the lawyer would probably speed things
good
the process up.
Talking to the lawyer also might tip off.
Or club him
Yeah.
with her coin purse.
Well,
I
he
was
is a
under the
bit on
impression
our side,
that
as
that's a
Cthulhu
lawyer.
said, but
Yeah.
they're a bit shady in their own rights.
Yeah.
He did cue
Exactly.
he did cue the kids in, and he's already put the guy off for a day.
Yeah.
And he
I don't
told
know
you-
how much more help he could be.
Yeah. And also, he might suspect us of kill if the father accidentally dies while we're trying to restrain him.
Yes.
Yeah, accident.
Accidentally.
Right.
You guys are going to hell.
So, I might know a way into this house. What time is daybreak around here?
Dawn?
Or I'm sorry,
Nightfall.
nightfall.
You've got about another 2 hours.
And how much time will it take us to get to the estate?
Oh, the estate is in the hills to the north of the city, but it's still in the city proper. So it'll probably only take you about 30 minutes to walk. It's not far away, but it all is also in the middle of the city. So going in and creating acts of mayhem could alert the local vigilists.
Yep.
And definitely wake up the neighbors. So this is a little bit more delicate than attacking somebody's farm or country estate.
Yeah, we want to make as little noise as possible, really.
Oh, yes.
How is Is that too loud?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Well, I'd show them all the map so we can plan whatever we're going to plan.
Yeah. Are we back at the villa of our siblings in the moment?
Oh, you're not staying there.
Or not? Okay.
You were not invited to stay there.
Okay, then.
It's actually not their house.
Oh,
So
of course. Yeah, they're right.
they're guests there themselves.
Okay.
So, if you want, it is still early enough for you guys to find a room and perhaps get some dinner, because you've not really eaten a meal today. You've had some bread and fruit in the morning and just kind of like a hand pie on the go lunch.
Yep.
So at this point, everybody's pretty tired from walking around all day and really hungry. And most of you, I would say at least half of you, are feeling kind of dirty and like maybe you want to take a bath.
Oh, yes, indeed. That needs to be done.
Wait.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just.
The
talk to
shepherdess just
lawyer.
looks at you all.
So I got changed my.
I actually, even the gladiator and the bodyguard, they've been Roman citizens for so long that it's still kind of weird for them not to take a bath at the end of the day after running around the city.
Yep.
The shepherdess and the courier, not so much. You're both used to being like out for days on end, so you don't even notice the ripeness.
Yeah, I feel fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're from Britannia.
Yep.
You'll never be clean.
The Britons.
All right,
Oh,
let us away to the bathhouse and for dinner. And if you two want to hit up the lawyer, be our guest. But I, for one, need to wash my hands before we bloody
maybe
them.
We can just find some information out from the lawyer.
Okay, so you're definitely all going to find a place to rest for a while, find a place to have dinner, and get baths.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is speaking to the lawyer on the docket or no?
Do you want to speak to the lawyer, Lily?
I mean, do you think we need to? We can
Well,
go. She's
yeah,
not
I'm just
opposed to it.
yeah, I'm just wondering if like maybe we can get information just about just leverage to use against a guy. Maybe we can get him to delay a little bit more.
At this point, getting a bath and a meal will put you at nightfall. And delivering the lawyer, you'd have to kind of do that right away because most businesses close
I
at
just say we'd
sundown.
have to go to the lawyer anyway, like right away. So they'd probably head back first, and then we'd have to find them.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I guess we don't really need to hit the lawyer up. So
Right.
just-
Well, I mean, we can go. It's just we wouldn't be able to do much. Like we would probably be able to eat, and that'd be it for us.
I would make an idea roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
I pass that. I actually extremely pass that.
Right. There's probably not much you can glean from the lawyer at this point. You know what you're planning to do.
Right.
And the lawyer would probably suggest you not break into his client's house.
Yeah.
That's true.
So he can't really help you.
Okay.
Let's see.
If you were gathering information at that point, I would say sure, but you kind of really have a lot of information already, and you're committed to this act of home invasion.
Right.
And they're not just gonna let us through the front door.
No, that's no problem. I was just wondering if maybe I don't know. Yeah, never mind. I'm gonna go with my instinct of my idea roll.
Okay. So you find a nice place to have dinner. Corinth is the capital of the province of Greece. So there are some really good restaurants here. Make a status check. All of you.
That's a fail.
I pass.
Of course.
Ooh. I
Does
failed it.
The
Oh
Epicurean.
wait, no, I made it. I'm sorry, that's a 3, not an 8. I'm using clear die.
Okay, this is what happens while you are in the bathhouse. Did the patrician make it?
Yes.
Okay, while you're there, you actually run it. You're kind of the bathhouse you were has a section for women. It actually has a co-ed section because this is Greece, but you're in the women's section because you're Roman. Are you with the shepherdess?
Sure. Is she coming along with me? Then of course, yeah.
Okay, you run into another well-known Epicurean that you've met at weddings once or twice. And she's like, "Oh, Osceola, I didn't even know you were in Greece. When did you arrive? Why did you not send word?"
Oh, it was just a quick lark, you know. I just woke up one day and said, I need to make my way to Greece, and here I am this morning.
I know how that is. Who are you staying with?
Oh, I haven't actually settled on that yet. I made no plan whatsoever. I just woke up middle of the night and said, I'm just going to go to Greece. And so
if you have no plans, then you have no plans for dinner.
Not as of yet. No.
How many are you? Because you are joining me.
Oh, thank you. I'll my traveling companions and I. Let's see. There are 5 of us. Yes, there we go. Yes,
She
5.
summons one of her slave attendants and says, "Run to the house. Tell them I want 5 courses ready for myself, the household, and 5 guests. We'll be there in an hour."
Oh, excellent.
So the 5 of you actually end up at this wealthy couple's home that Osceola knows through friends of friends. And they put on this, they put their kitchen staff to work setting out this 5-course meal of local delicacies. So they're kind of showing off the bounty of Greece. So lots of local favorites that you would not usually, or you would get them in Rome, but they wouldn't be as good. It's kind of like the difference between tacos in New York and tacos in California. I'm from New York, but I gotta admit the tacos in California are probably a lot better than ours.
You guys have better pizza.
Oh, that goes without saying.
Don't even start that argument.
But I'm going to give you tacos. Okay, so it's like you've had Greek food, but you have not had Greek food by Greek slaves from a Greek kitchen in the capital of Greece.
Oh.
So I need everybody to make a POW check.
Oh wow. That potent, eh? I made it by 20 or 25 out of 65.
Pow, pow, pow.
I made that.
I failed.
Clearly.
Come on.
I'm not overwhelmed by the flavors just yet.
Roll.
I
failed.
Here's the thing.
I failed.
You all notice that when you get to the 4th or 5th courses, it's already sundown.
Oh, so good.
I'm not certain of the etiquette here. I kind of like look at the patrician and be like darting my eyes toward the door or the window or some type of silent message that we got to bounce.
I want to find out how to say that in Latin. We got to pound. And I got an ancient history an ancient language professor I can ask. Yo, we got to bounce.
Yo, we got to bounce.
Yeah, I imagine that my character and your character just kind of looking at each other like this is not happening right now.
Greek.
So you've still got 2 courses, and you realize that what your host is doing is intentionally letting the meal go long so that it'll be dark and you'll have to stay the night.
Oh.
Which actually, in a normal thing, that would be very nice of them.
Right.
So they're going out of their way to be good hosts, but little do they know you have a breaking and entering planned. So you're going to have to, extricate yourself from the situation, or you're going to lose several hours of B&E time.
Oh boy.
I can be the blunt person if you want.
I'm not gonna be blunt about it, but I am gonna. My lady,
I'm all fine with it.
I believe you've forgotten about our prior engagement that we will be late for soon.
Oh, you cut me the quick. You do remind me of that. Let's see. Real quick. Before I do that, I come over to Cesar and ask him to prepare for me just a small little jar. I need you to mix a little thing for me. Don't ask questions why. Just bring you this little jar. I need you to mix some molasses, some sand, and some sawdust, and bring that to me. Yeah, it's worth thing. It's worth thing.
They look at you like you've got 3 heads.
It's for a joke. You see? You understand?
All right, they do it.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, what is this? I hear they've got to leave. We won't hear of it. We'll have rooms set for you.
Oh.
It's already late.
Oh.
We haven't even brought out the pastries yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention there's something I wanted to do here. It's a thing I can't tell you about it yet. It's a whole elaborate joke that has to be played on someone. I have to get ready to do it, and once we do that, we'll be back and we can have a whole big toast and laugh about it.
All right, make a persuade check.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot! I gotta spend some luck on that.
Burn that luck. Burn it.
Yeah, there goes 10 luck to make that roll.
All right. You manage to extricate yourself without offending your hosts.
Oh yes.
And they say, "Oh, but please, it's already dark. Let us send some slaves with you to carry your torches to get you back to your hotel."
That won't be necessary, but thank you.
Okay. All right. They accept that.
Yep.
Especially coming from Menad the Mighty.
as he flexes his pecs
They
at him.
look up at this giant, dark skinned gladiator, and they're like, "Oh, if you've got it, you've got it."
My glistening thews will reflect all the light.
I assure you,
I've got this.
I assure you, we are safe.
Okay. So at this point, you guys with full stomachs and more than a few glasses of wine in you head out and cross the city under cover of darkness and arrive you arrive at the block of the home of the Dexius family. And roll. I need everybody to roll a luck and tell me if somebody makes a hard success or an extreme success.
Extreme 04.
No shit, really?
Yep.
I missed it.
I missed it as well.
Okay. With someone making an extreme luck check, it begins to rain.
Oh.
Well, we could have skipped the bathhouse.
Meaning there are clouds, no moon, and occasional claps of thunder.
Knuckle cracking.
No, my mascara's running. Oh dear.
All right, and I think as we're coming up on 11:30, and this is a good spot. This is a great space a place to pick it up from next time.
Cool.
Wonderful. At least this rain's washing off all those scented oils.
But also
Yeah,
the rain will make it extra dark and cover any noise that might happen in the villa.
That's
That
right.
inevitably will happen in the villa. All right. Well, Oscar, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for listening to you guys who are listening, and we will pick this up next week. And with that, just keep 30 luck points.